so tired.
5 years later from Alexis's debut on our YouTube channel, and she's still hiding in the back seat.
I'm so tired.
That's literally the other video that you're in. Is you and your mom hiding in the back seat.
I know. You should warn people.
Are you tired?
You should warn people that you're doing this to them, and maybe they'll smile.
You do watch our show, right? We have Alexis here. We're about to go into the bins. She just asked if it's cold in there, if she needs a jacket.
We're in Las Vegas.
We're in Las Vegas. There's no air conditioning. No, there's no air conditioning. It's just sweaty, smelly bros.
Stinky people that don't bathe before they go. I mean, I took a bath. So.
But we're gonna go. The doors have already opened, so we better get in there. But I need to get the start to this video. So Alexis is gonna go battle it out with some shoe people.
Duke it out with the bros.
Yeah, the boys. All right. I just gave Alexis the 2-second warning. Going live. Well, not really live, but all right. So we just got out of the bins. It's 10:21. There were multiple happenings that took place today. Some interesting things. It was pretty busy. First of all, the new setup. Do we like it? Yes? No?
I like it.
We love it. It's first of all, they're turning things around super fast, much more efficiently, and everybody's staying behind the line, man. Some people I think don't like it so much, but whatever.
Red means
get over
stop.
It. We learned today.
Red line.
Red means stop. Number 2 happening. Alexis, you only got a couple of things. Why?
My car was stolen. My Birkenstocks have been thieved. They were not located.
Her cart disappeared. It may have been sort of near the area that they say not to block, like where the exit door is.
Somewhere.
But there's so many carts. I don't know. Whatever.
But there were a million carts in front of the exit. So
I know.
would they single hers out with like 4 items in it? Stupid.
Yes. Stupid.
Stupid.
Stupid. All right. Third happening. Vikki had a cart full. She got quite a bit of stuff, which, by the way, I'm very jealous of one particular item, which you will be seeing later today when we do a haul. Why are you dumping water out?
Because it's old water that's been sitting in the car for a week. I'm going to drink hot water in a plastic...
Yes!
No.
Anyway, so Vikki had an entire cartload, and if you've been to the bins before, or you haven't been to the bins before, there's a scale. It's supposed to be tared out at, you know, the weight of the cart, so whatever is in there is what's left over. So she's got her cart up on the scale, and the total comes to, what?
176 and change.
176, and this one over here said, that is not right! And she angrily and loudly dumped everything out.
I did not angrily and loudly.
Angrily and loudly.
You're lying. I was very polite.
Grabbing,
demonstrably.
Screaming at the top of her lungs.
Oh, she's full of garbage.
Throwing everything out of the cart onto the scale.
That's not even close to happening.
And then how much was it?
$63.
I mean, it's a little bit of a difference.
I shop enough that I know a full cart, even though I had a lot of heavy linens, was not that much.
I think for maybe something got hit, some button got hit wrong or something, and they accidentally were basically charging her for the weight of the cart as well.
Hence the dumping.
Hence the dumping. But
I knew it was, I mean, my average with a full cart is like 65, 70 bucks usually.
The t-shirt bros were watching it, and one of the guys was like, that's why I never use a cart.
Just like that.
That's why I never use a cart.
Exactly like
that. I don't know. Were there any other happenings in there?
I think that might have been it.
Did you get in any fights?
Not today.
Yeah.
Screamy Lady's not here.
No. Now we got Screamy Man, but he does it in a much more respectful, firm manner that he follows.
He doesn't screech.
Well, and he follows up with, like, there's consequences, man. Oh, nobody got kicked out today, but they're scared. They're a little scared.
They all got warned, though.
They did. They got some warnings.
This is your first warning. You get one warning, and then you're out.
He said if you're in this
you're
aisle
warned, you're warned, you're warned.
Yeah, because the other thing is, there's like a whole aisle where, you know, because all the carts come out, all the bins come out from these side doors, and they're big bins. And before, people would just like all be kind of hanging, like the workers trying to push them through. We're having to like get people to move. Well, he's like, get out of that aisle completely, and he made everybody wait until people moved.
He's not playing.
Nope. So
I kind of like it.
We do like it.
He's very stern.
Yell at us more, Daddy.
Nope. Okay. What did you tell me? Somebody pulled out of that bin, and then everybody's like, "Oh, that was a come up."
It was a Coogee.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, I'll show you the best thing I got today. Came out of that same bin. Like I've told you guys, I like to go because it's like I like to go all the way to the end because basically when they say go, everybody runs. There were a couple of young guys that I think this was their first time here, because as soon as everybody started running, one of the guys was like, "Oh my God, what is happening? Is this what's happening now?" They were like young t-shirt bros to be who were like,
oh, there was a lot of young kids.
They were blown away by what was happening.
And kids are out of school here, so I mean, these are high school kids, I think.
Yeah, it was like high school kids, but they were quite blown away by how ridiculous everybody runs to the troughs. But anyway, so I like to I run with the bulls. I run with the crowd, but I like to go all the way to the very end.
Run with the bulls.
Yeah, I like to go all the way to the end because a lot of them stop along the way they want to hit the bins. I go to the very last one, and I've done well a couple times now. I think both the last 2 days I've gotten my best stuff at the very end. Anyway, so the guy right next to me in that bin, he pulled a Coogee, but it was funny because as he's pulling, he was like, "It's a come up, it's a come up." So he was very excited about it.
Saying it himself.
Yes, he was saying, "It's a come up." And then I pulled something from there that was my best piece of the day.
A come up.
Yeah, and then I said, "It's a come up." Woo!
And everyone ran.
I don't know what's wrong with you.
The bulls went away.
All right, what do you need now?
Food. Coffee. And she needs food.
Coffee. Food, coffee. All right, let's go, biatches. It's a come up. All right, we're back home. We're gonna do a haul now. But you know what? I forgot to mention there was one more happening, one more event, one more thing that occurred. It was when we were putting stuff into bags in the back of the car. I had grabbed the bags that the mailman, it was the sub mailman, I'd like to make very clear right now, not a regular mail lady who is amazing, will not disparage her name. It was a sub. Anyway, we had all of our stuff from the weekend that was going out yesterday, and so just as we were leaving the house yesterday, he came by and he's like, "Oh, is stuff ready to go?" And we were like, "Yeah." So then this morning, I grabbed the bags out of the bin, put them in the back of the car. So Vicky's taking the stuff out of her cart, the stuff she had previously angrily and loudly yelling, thrown down on the scale. Anyway, she's putting them into the bags, and what happened?
I found a package.
You what?
Sent out yesterday that I assumed was picked up by the post office, but was not.
She's like, "There's a package that didn't get sent out." And then
it just had yesterday's date. Thank God it wasn't an old one or something.
Yeah, and so then of course I remembered it was a sub, so I made sure that we clarified between the two of us that our mail lady would never do such a thing.
As if she watches this.
I don't care. It's not for her benefit. I have to defend her honor because she's the best.
Okay, fair.
Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with this haul.
All right, so I'm going to show you what I picked up today. Nothing super fantastic. I did get some good things, but nothing like that blew me away. I think we may try to go again tomorrow. I do need to go 2 to 3 times a week to get my listings up and to make sure that I'm doing 100 to 200 listings a week on all of my platforms. So that takes multiple trips to the bins. Even though I find a lot more than Katy does usually, to do that many listings, I need to get more quantity. So let me show you what I got. First thing is a vintage 1980s, it's just a military all-weather like jacket, coat, and it's got the faux fur lining that zips out. It's vintage 80s. There are date labels on the tags that you can look up how to discern what decade or what year something is made military. As long as it has the original label, there are dates embedded in the labels, and it's usually pretty easy to figure out what decade it's from. And then of course, if it's from like a certain war era, you're obviously gonna put World War II or Vietnam War or Korean War or even Desert Storm. Most of the others aren't really relevant as far as people that collect militaria. And even this is just a basic like watch coat. I'm just trying to see real quick if it says what branch of the military it is. It doesn't. I'll be able to look it up, but off the top of my head, I don't know. Probably Navy or Army. Those are the most common ones we find. We also find a lot of Air Force here because we have Nellis Air Force Base right here in Las Vegas, and that's one of the largest Air Force bases in the country. So, picked this up, vintage 80s Christmas sweatshirt, loud, kind of cheesy, has a few stains on it, kind of a couple of yellow stains. This is actually a great example of something that will do well bleaching. So I'm gonna put this in a bleach bath. The only thing that it will affect are these little appliques, which are kind of satin bows. So the satin will probably lighten up and the threading around the satin will lighten up. It won't bleach it out entirely, but it will mute the colors a little bit. But really this big yellow stain on the front of it makes it worthless. So it's worth, you know, bleaching to see how it'll come out finished. It's not a big money maker or anything like that, but I'd probably list it for like 40 bucks and it should sell around the holidays.
It's cute.
This was a good find. I feel like someone might have put this back because it was on top of a bin that I had already been through and had been out for quite a while. But this is probably the most popular vintage made in Hawaii Hilo Hatties. This is probably one of the most popular purple prints. And this is in a nice bark cloth. It's not super vintage. This is a size 3XL, which is big boy sizes are really good for Hawaiian stuff. And it's not the super old Hilo Hatties, but probably like 90s-ish. But it is bark cloth. It does feel like brand new. I mean, this has not been washed or cleaned in any way. It's super stiff and crunchy still and folded. So it might be like new without tags, but because of the size, the color, the pattern, this will probably, I'll price it like 69 or 79 bucks and it should sell fairly quickly, especially this time of the year.
That's the one I said I was jealous of.
Oh, that's the jealousy. Okay, so this is a vintage, and by vintage I mean this one's probably early Y2K. Oh, not even. It's not. It's a Justin Bieber t-shirt from 2012, 2013. I had not turned it around, but I don't even know if Bieber is still a thing. I know that there's some still diehard fans and such. I don't know, for like the 50 cents it cost me, it was worth picking up. It's a girly tee, like fitted baby doll tee in purple.
Believers?
The Believers? Are you a believer? Let me know in the comments. I need to know. I think if you're watching our show, the chances are probably not, but who knows? Never know. Again, I don't know if it's worth listing or not because I'm showing you these things before I look them up. Obviously, I will look it up before I decide if I'm going to photograph and list it. This is just a vintage, made in the USA, I would say probably 80s casino jacket. So it's called Commerce Casino. I have not looked that up. I don't know where it is. I do not believe it is a Las Vegas casino, actually. It's just a kind of like a brushed denim bomber style jacket, or Harrington style, as Katy says. We really shouldn't put that in the listing, at least on eBay. I guess they don't like it, or Etsy, I'm not sure which. But anyway, it's embroidered on the front. It's white. This is also something that I need to wash it, if not bleach it. It just says Commerce Casino, poker capital of the world. I don't know, maybe a $50 jacket. Might be a worthless jacket, we'll see. This is just a bread and butter type thing, but this is Aria brand men's dress shirt. It's in excellent condition, if not new. It's definitely been to the dry cleaner. These sell pretty quickly for me. This brand sells really quickly for me. This is for like more of the modern Western wear, you know, live in Texas, wear their cowboy boots, but they want a nice dress shirt kind of thing. These sell pretty consistently. It'll probably sell on Poshmark in the $30 to $40 range. This is Y2K BCBG. This is just a hoodie. It is not the crushed velvet, but it's just a black hoodie with all these little blinged out butterflies actually on the back and on the front. I'll probably price it in the $40 to $50 range. Again, the Y2K stuff is definitely having a moment again. Even things like Ed Hardy. I've sold a few Ed Hardy things recently. Most people don't think that that's a thing anymore. It had its moment. Now it's coming back around for the second moment, and I was selling it for both of them, which is really weird, and I'm really old. Let's see. Disney Parks, lightweight sweatshirt, just from California Adventure. Different Disney stuff sells pretty well. Obviously vintage Disney sells much better. That's not really vintage. Maybe like a $30 bread and butter type item. This is vintage 90s, and it's just a girl's kind of baby doll baby doll tank top, I guess, with this little funky embroidered tied waist and tied back. Brand is irrelevant. It's not even a decent brand. It doesn't really matter. But this is, again, that whole, it was kind of like the 90s does 70s retro hippie thing. Remember, like flared jeans, low-rise flare, LEI or mud jeans and this type of top. So this would be something that my daughter probably would have worn in junior high, and now it's back around. Speaking of LEI, these are pretty cool. This is, I think this might be my favorite thing that I bought today. These are vintage, high-waisted LEI shorts.
Cute.
They're super cute. They're button front, made in the USA. So this is like 80s when LEI really got big in the 90s. But they're button front shorts with, you know, the high-waisted mom short type of thing with red and white gingham check panels. They're really, really cute. I could totally see someone wearing this. I was in Nashville last week for CMA Fest. I totally would have seen some young girl wearing these with a pair of cowboy boots.
You should photograph those and list them today because of 4th of July.
Oh, good call. Maybe, maybe not. This is one of the other pieces that I really like. This is a vintage 80s Escada. So there's the tag there. Made in, this one's made in West Germany. So that also gives you an indicator of when it was made, because West Germany ceased to be an actual thing or a location at some point in the 80s. I'm not sure the exact year, 86, 88, something like that. They're kind of a coral high waist dress pants. They look super tiny. So they're like baggy, but again, this look is very current again. So somebody would wear this with maybe a fitted top or a crop top. And they're like that coral salmon orangey pinkish color. This is going to have to be bleached because there's a mark on it, but this is just a vintage. It's actually, I don't know if it's vintage, might be a little vintage, but I grabbed it because it was made in Denmark. And this is a type of top that would be worn for like Oktoberfest. So like little German Hausfrau, you know, Heidi the beer wench type of outfit. So you'd have this little top. This does sell for like 50, 60 bucks. I did look this one up real quick. I mostly grabbed it because it was a foreign label. Usually if something's made in France, made in Italy, made in Germany, made in Denmark, something like that, I'm almost always gonna pick it up because it tends to be higher quality items and they tend to be more designer items because they're not made in bulk in Vietnam or China, you know what I mean? This is more bread and butter. This is just the brand Prana. Used to be a super great brand, not so great anymore, but this is just an elastic waist casual pair of pants, and they're super lightweight. They look like a maternity waist, but they're not. And again, they're super lightweight. They probably cost 75 cents. They'll probably only sell for around 30, and likely will sell on Poshmark. This I grabbed just because I had to, okay? So this, Katy just did, that was a me thing. So Hanes Beefy Tee, so this is vintage. I think this is 80s, is this tag? With the,
tag? 90s.
90s, all right, see, I would have known if I looked it up. Anyway, this is a large t-shirt that is so holey and falling apart and ripped and stained and torn that this obviously meant something to someone to have kept it for this damn long. I don't know what this says. It says something like something Machine Masters of Carpentry, maybe? Something tree, I have no idea. I'm gonna look this up, and I swear if this is worth selling, I mean, I'll be shocked, but I couldn't leave it. I had to grab it. Again, it probably cost me 50 cents. If nothing else, it was worth the story. Let's see. These, because of weight, I paid up a little bit for, so I probably paid $5 or $6 for these. But these are vintage brand, Key brand, K-E-Y, Key brand carpenter overalls. These are worn by both men and women. They're kind of unisex. These are men's, but
very tall. It
doesn't ever stop anybody from buying these to wear them because they're big and they're wide leg and they're super comfy. So they would just buy them and like roll them up or whatever. These I tend to sell for like 60 to 75 bucks, and these are a good size, so these might even go a little bit more, because it's really hard for plus size or voluptuous women to find overalls that fit properly, that are not the weird stretchy skinny leg ones that are sold today. They're just not as cute, my opinion even. And I'm speaking as a fluffy woman myself. This is just a piece of fabric, maybe a wall hanging or piece of fabric that is just, I can tell it's hand painted, maybe a little bit Middle Eastern pattern or some type of batik print. I'll do a little bit of research, see if there's anything on the selvage, but it feels like it's hand painted. I mean, if nothing else, it'll probably be at least a $20 or $30 item. Let's see. Vintage wool. I just realized it has a chunk out of it. It looks like somebody bit it. I don't know who's biting blankets, but vintage wool fringed tartan plaid made by Faribault. This is what the label looks like. And I sell these all the time in the winter as lap blankets, throw blankets, lodge. You put like, you know, country lodge, that type of thing in it. And this plaid sells really well, like 40 bucks. Let's see. The rest of the stuff I have are linens. And again, not all huge money makers, but just bread and butter stuff. Like vintage 80s Mickey Mouse pillowcase. I've purchased and sold this one before. I'll sell it for like $20. It's 2 photos, so easy. This is vintage 2002 top sheet, Star Wars. Not like great 70s vintage, but still 2002, still vintage, just a top sheet. Sometimes I'll sell these and I put, if it's not in great condition, I'll put it as a craft piece or a cutter piece. Lots of people buy sheets because they're repeating patterns, and if they're going to be making something or some type of upcycling or craft item, they don't necessarily need to buy yards and yards of fabric, and a lot of people make things out of sheets because it's easy washable fabric. Same reason for this one. This is just a top sheet as well, but they're just vintage, red, really soft cotton or cotton blend, some kind of like trucks. So like little boys' sheets or curtains you could make out of this or use it as a sheet. $20, $30, that's the type of thing. These are vintage. I wish I had found the pillowcase, I did not. These are vintage transformer sheets. So top sheet and fitted sheet, both, which was nice. I was able to find both of them. They're in two separate bins, which is always a challenge.
Transformer, is it?
Not Transformers, sorry, Power Rangers. What did I say? Transformers? Power Rangers. Whatever. Same difference. Anyway, so I haven't looked these up. Could be a super common pattern. If it's a super common pattern, then I'm probably gonna get like 20, 30 bucks for them. If not, I may do as much as 50, depends. This is vintage Utica is the brand, made in the USA. I was hoping I would find these sheets because these are really nice vintage flannel sheets. It's just a single pillowcase, but it's like new and it has ducks. So we all know the ducks are super 80s, super 80s. Everything had ducks and hunting and all that kind of stuff. I still think I will sell this because it's by nature, it's flannel and it's very much like that hunter lodge type of pattern. Vintage pillowcase from Disney Pixar Cars. Again, might be worthless, might be worth selling by itself. I know a lot of the Cars merchandise has come out many times with different iterations of the movies. That is one of the original when it first came out. And some of that stuff is highly collectible. Whether that is or not, I don't know yet. This I knew I was gonna grab no matter what. So this is a vintage Barney crib sheet or toddler blanket from the 90s. These sell for about $30 to $40 consistently. I probably will get like 50 for it on Etsy, because usually I can get a little bit more on Etsy. But it's just a really cute quilted blanket from the early 90s, the real early Barney days. Actually, it's 1992 is the copyright on it. Let's see, this is vintage. I believe this is beater lack. There's no tag, but I can usually tell by the binding on the blanket, on these acrylic blankets. I think this one is beater lac. I'll compare it to a few other beater lacs I have. It's missing the binding right here on one spot for like 4 inches, but it's a cute tiger. I don't know if you can see this because now I'm covering my own face. Cute tiger for a blanket. And even though the brown and gray lions, tigers, not bears, and deer are probably the most popular San Marcos and beater lac combinations, they still sell. So even this one is kind of small, has that little trim damage. I paid, based on weight, it's about 3 pounds. So I paid about $5 for it, and I will still sell this for like $50, $55. So for $5 and $50 is worth it to me all the time. And I have just 2 more things. This is a vintage handmade granny square quilt. These are super popular again. Not all Afghans, not all hand crocheted Afghans, but if you find the ones in bright colors, the granny squares, very popular for that whole casual boho look. People are really loving the 60s and 70s again. So don't pass these up. You can generally find them at garage sales, thrift stores, whatever, very, very inexpensively. And again, this was about $5. It's about 3 pounds. I'll sell it for probably $75. And then last, we were just talking about the original Disney Pixar movies. And this is from the original Cars movie. This is a Disney Pixar tag, original Cars movie. And it's like a beater lac type blanket, but it's not beater lac, it's Disney. Again, it may be worthless. It's a little faded. It definitely needs to be washed. I'm gonna wash it for sure. If it's worthless, I'll toss it or I'll donate it. I'll donate it back because a blanket, they can use it for pets or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know what the price is on it. We'll see. But that's it. So 2 hours at the bins. I filled the cart and it cost me $63 for everything you see here. And yeah, now it's Katie's turn.
Yay, good job. I'm back. I actually had a pretty good day. I filled up a bag. I think I got more than 10 items. And I definitely have one item in particular that I should be able to sell for a minimum of $100. So I'm pretty happy with that. First up though, I have this. This definitely needs to be washed. It's from 2004, so close enough for me to call it vintage Y2K. It's on this Hanes tag right here, and it is O'Connor Panthers by District Champions. It's just got a cool sportsing graphic on it. I'm assuming this is like high school, but this definitely needs to be washed. Next up, I got some good school stuff. Well, this has a nice big stain on it, but that should come out with washing. But this is, I would say, this MD Sport, late 90s, early 2000s, Y2K, nice gray, heather gray, Arizona State University. Does have some staining right here, but that actually looks more like it just needs to be washed as opposed to bleached or anything like that. But as we say, this heather gray can absolutely be bleached. It does not damage it or make it look bleached. It doesn't affect it like that. Next up, we've got this Michigan Wolverines sweatshirt. What do you think of that, Vicki? Nice heavy Michigan Wolverines, all embroidered. This tag, I would say, is probably early 2000s, made in China, Cadre Athletic, maybe late 90s, but I'd say probably early, probably Y2K. And it's a nice, heavy, really nice sweatshirt. All those two things I'll probably try to sell for like around $50, the hoodie and the sweatshirt. The t-shirt, maybe I'll put it up for like $35 since it's like a high school kind of sportsing thing. Definitely got a lot of sweatshirts today. Next up, this is like a Christmassy one. This is probably like a late 90s. This is a Gildan tag, but it is made in Canada. Gildan is was a Canadian company to begin with. So when you get a Gildan tag that says made in Canada, it's kind of the same thing as getting made in the USA as far as vintage goes. But this is TPC Summerlin. So Summerlin's a neighborhood here in Vegas. And it's some sort of tennis thing. And but it was a Christmas time one. Look at the back graphic, is really, really cool. It says TPC Summerlin Jingle Bells Championship. I think that's a pretty cool graphic. This has some staining on it. It might just be able to be washed. I don't know. I don't think it'll need to be bleached. So it's just kind of like a little dark smudge right there. If I don't need to bleach it, then I won't. Next up, this is like, I kind of grabbed this. I didn't really think it was gonna be vintage or anything like that. And then once I looked at it, I'm like, oh, this is probably Y2K. It's really nice, even fade. This is a Bowie t-shirt. But if you can see, like it's got, I'm showing it to Vikki, it's got the thicker collar. It's not like, you know, a lot of the modern shirts now have like really thin collars. It is double stitch, but the tag is this all style tag. I'll show you this right here, this all style tag. And that tag you can find a lot in like the early 2000s. And when I look at like where it was made, it says made in El Salvador of USA fabric. So I would definitely say this is probably like an early 2000s, but it's cool because it's got a really, really nice even fade all over. And it does have the copyright info on here. It's not dated, but it does have the copyright info. So you know this is like a legit, you know, licensed t-shirt. So, and it's just got that really nice fade that I'll probably price that at like 70 and then hope to sell it for at least 50 through offers and stuff like that. All right, next up, Vikki actually grabbed this one. This is from 2008. It's got some fading going on. So it's a 2008 Gildan tag right there. It's long sleeve, definitely faded, but this is a really cool BMX t-shirt. It's 2008 state champion, #1. It's got that cool kind of crackly graphic right there, and then the back has a nice big graphic. So it's just a really cool BMX shirt, and it's a nice size too. It's got to be at least an extra large. Oh, it's 2XL. It's got some little bleach marks on it and stuff, but I actually think it looks like it's in really good shape. So I should be able to sell this for 40, 50 bucks. Thanks to Victoria. This, I couldn't resist picking this up. Alexis actually found this one and handed it to me. It's just a blank sweatshirt, but this is an 80s BVD blank sweatshirt. I mean, this is one, I should be able to make like 30, 35, maybe 40 bucks on it. It's a nice big size, an extra large, made in the USA on the BVD tag, and a really nice kind of maroon color. So not too exciting, but those blank sweatshirts do sell. Next up, we've got, oh, so this is one that Vikki and I were both pulling out of the same bin, and we both grabbed this at the same time, and we did a bit of a tug of war, guys. There was a bit of a tug of war. We almost got into a fight. Vikki almost threw some elbows. She finally let go because, let's face it, I'm stronger, okay? And then we realized that it said, because you could see it was like a college sweatshirt, but then we realized it says mom underneath. And I almost threw it back just because, you know, the mom stuff, dad stuff, it just doesn't tend to sell for as much, if at all. And this is on a 90s Russell athletic tag. And then I was like, you know what? The letters are so cool because they have like a, what's this pattern called again? They have a paisley pattern in the lettering, which I think looks really cool. And I'm like, I'm just gonna try taking a seam ripper and like taking that embroidery out and see if I can make it look like it wasn't there at all. I don't know if that's possible, but I figured it was worth a try because it's a really cool sweatshirt. And if I'm able to do that, I could definitely sell this for like $50 to $70. Just not with the mom stuff. Sorry, moms. Sorry about it, moms. Now this is a hoodie that's not vintage, but I just really love the graphic on it. This says Tokyo, Japan, and it's got that really cool Japanese wave art. And then the back has a really big graphic of the same thing. It says Tokyo, Japan. Vikki, what do you think?
That's cool.
I think it looks really cool. So that, I mean, I think I can get 40 to 50 bucks for it. Then I did find this satin bomber jacket. Nothing too exciting, and nothing on the back. I will wash this because it's like kind of all wrinkly. It is on a Hartwell tag. This is probably like late 80s, early 90s. Definitely made in the USA. It says 549 battalion. So I'll have to look that up because I don't really know what that refers to. I mean, I'm assuming something military, but I don't know exactly like what military branch that is or where it is, but I should be able to find information about that. So I really don't know how much I'll price this at, but I can't imagine I would get more than 50 to 70, and maybe even less, just depending on what it is and how I can kind of market it. Then I got like a bunch of political t-shirts, which I have no idea if these have any resale value at all, because these are from the 2000 election. So first up, this is like a dead stock Gore Lieberman 2000. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I could at least get 30 bucks. But I don't know like how popular like a failed presidential run from 2000 is going to be. But still interesting. I still like grabbing this kind of stuff. Now, this one is interesting because the back of it is Gore Lieberman, okay? The back is Gore Lieberman. The front is Adam Schiff. So Adam Schiff right now is in Congress. So it's just kind of interesting because this is from 23 years ago. I'll have to like look it up and get a little more information. But I am thinking like Adam Schiff is not old. I'm thinking this could be like kind of the beginning of his political career as a congressman. So I'm kind of curious, like if this was his, let's say, first run for Congress, maybe it has some value that it otherwise wouldn't. I don't know. But he's definitely somebody who's super active until today's political landscape as a leader. So I think it's interesting. Next up, this is another presidential one, only this is, it says Captain Morgan for president. So it's kind of funny. It's see the Hanes tag. I know, silly. See, look, Captain Morgan for president, and then the back says putting the party back in politics.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, Vicki's groaning. Oh my God. So kind of cute, kind of fun. And I just got a handful more things left here. Now this is not vintage. This is on a Gildan tearaway tag. So this is within like probably the last 5 years or so. But I thought the graphic was really cool. And it says, there is no planet B. So it's kind of, I'm assuming kind of an environmental thing. But then the sleeve hit says Nevada National Security Site, NNSS. So I don't know, this is managed and operated by Mission Support and Test Services. I don't know exactly what this is, I'll have to look it up. But when I see something like this, like there is no planet B, I'm assuming that's kind of like a conservation kind of thing. I don't know, what do you think, Vicki? Is this worth picking up?
Sure.
I think it's cool. She says, sure, sure. Next up, I bought a blazer, you guys. What? I bought a blazer. I gotta get Vicki's opinion on this. This is a brown corduroy blazer. It's in very good shape, okay? Now I don't normally get blazers, but corduroy is kind of making a comeback, right? And the brown, like earth tones too. Also, this is J. Crew. You can see the thing right there. Now J. Crew corduroy blazers can go for quite a bit. I would imagine at the very,
not a very old one, but
right. I'm not talking about vintage, but at the very least, I think I can make 50 bucks with it. But it's in really nice condition, and it's just a really nice. J. Crew is a good brand, so not vintage, but I imagine at least $50. So to me, definitely worth picking up. All right, down to my last two items. So now this first one, I grabbed it after this one particular set of bins had been out for a while. So somebody else must have picked it up at some point and then threw it back. And I didn't see what was on it right away. I just grabbed it because I saw, I'm like, oh, that's definitely vintage. I'm like, that looks like it's dead stock. I could see the single stitch. I could feel the fabric. And I'm like, that's like an 80s t-shirt and it's not a bad size. And so when I finally went back to my cart and pulled it out, I can kind of see why somebody might not pick it up, because some people might not think this is something to grab. But this is Wenatchee High, which I don't know where Wenatchee High is, but it's Wenatchee High, and it's a class reunion. But look at this, Vicki. This is a 1953 class.
Oh, that's cool.
In 1983. So I think that's super cool. Like if I found a t-shirt like this that was from like my high school, but it was from the class of 53 and it was their 83 reunion, like I totally want to buy that. I think that's cool. Like it doesn't have to be like only people that graduated from Wenatchee High in 1953, but I think it's cool. I like the graphic. It's in crazy good condition. It's an extra, look at the size of this, Vikki, from 1983.
That was a big person.
But usually you'll get an XL and it's like maybe it's a medium. This is like, this might actually be a true XL. Impressive. All right, last thing I picked up, guys. Last thing. So I did my thing where I ran to the end of the bins when they let us go. This is me running, ran. And this is when the guy right next to me grabbed that Coogee sweater. And I grabbed a couple of t-shirts that I could tell were vintage. And this particular one was turned inside out, so I couldn't even tell what was on it. It was just a white t-shirt, but I very quickly saw like how wide the collar was, and I think I might have seen that it was single stitch. So I just assumed like, I think this is vintage, and I grabbed it and threw it over my shoulder. And so that's especially when they first let you go, like you're just taking stuff and I throw them over my shoulder. And then when I have a chance, then I'll go look at it. And a lot of times, most of the time, I'm disappointed by what I actually find in the shirt. This time, before I even turned it inside out, or back to the right side, I saw the tag. I saw this Disney store tag, and I know that tag is from, it's from the 90s. And then I just looked at the paper tag underneath, and it said made in the USA. And so I'm like, oh, definitely a 90s shirt. And then I verified, yep, single stitch, nice big size. So I open it up and I'm starting to turn it around and I'm like, oh, it's got like a really big graphic on the front and back. And I'm like, oh, please let it be something like crazy, like an Aladdin t-shirt or like something really, really good. And for like a second, I was kind of disappointed because it's an Eeyore shirt. And my experience with like Winnie the Pooh stuff is that it doesn't sell like crazy great when it comes to like streetwear type stuff. And then, but then I like, you know, turn it around. First of all, it's got Eeyore on the front in the rain, looking sad as usual. And he says, I'm smiling on the inside, really. You can see it's big graphic right here. I looked it up, and I mean, some of the other ones are in better condition. Like this one's definitely got a lot of fading, but again, some people like the fading. Some people prefer the fading, and they don't necessarily want it to be like a dead stock brand new shirt. Minimum, I should be able to sell this shirt for $100. I'll probably list it for $200 and then take offers and do like aggressive offers to buyers. But I cannot imagine I will sell it for any less than $100. So I felt like this was a really good score today. But overall, I feel like we did really good for just a 2-hour bins trip. I think we're gonna go back again tomorrow, which if things go the way they do historically, we'll go back tomorrow and it'll be terrible and we won't find anything good. But for once, for today, we're gonna say we're very pleased with how it turned out. Victoria, do you have any last words? I imagine Alexis doesn't want to show her 2 things she found.
She's hiding.
So we'll let her continue to hide. We
no,
won't
I'm
force
good.
her out.
I got nothing else to say.
Yeah, I don't know. Why don't you go ahead and leave in the comments below how you feel about us doing videos like this. I know we've got a lot of feedback from people saying that they really, really like it. So we think we're going to keep on doing it.
I mean, we can do at least once a week plus our normal Sunday show. And as you guys know, this is a little easier because we don't always get to the Sunday show, especially when we're traveling.
It's true.
But we will have one this week.
Trying to get out more content. Yeah, but as always, guys, we're getting real close to when tickets for the Reseller Remix are going to be going on sale, which is July 1st. So 10 days from now. So just make sure you're following us on Instagram at Boss Reseller Remix. Make sure you're checking out our website, resellerremix.com.
All the links are down below.
All that's down below, but you don't want to miss out this year. It seriously is going to be epic, and a whole new speaker lineup. Yeah,
epic. Big word, epic.
How dare you? She's mocking me, you guys. Oh,
every day.
She just did to my heart when she did all that stuff in the grocery cart and threw it on the scale, angry, yelling, so rude.
Things that did not happen for 500, Alex.
Guess we're not going into double jeopardy. All right, bye.